Hey, welcome to one more episode of Tea Talkers, and this is something which we always wanted to do because our whole intention is to make people happy mentally. Whatever you do, what profession you are in, you need to be happy at the end of the day. You need to go to bed with a good sleep, and sleep is very important. But today we have a person who have not just slept well throughout his life being mentally happy, but also make others sleep well as well. So we have someone who has created living for many people and living better. I have someone who has created history in his career and made people to stay better. I have someone who have created a pinch of happiness for many people around this city. And he himself is a legend. He has tried to brought in everything that he has learned throughout his career. Wherever he has traveled, he has tried to learn and bring it to somewhere where it is needed. And that's the purpose of life, learning. And today I will learn from him. I will learn how to make your profession more professional, how to make your profession a happy thing to live for, and at the same time, how to make your profession something which is really a purpose of life. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure, in fact we all have the pleasure, to welcome Sri Debashis Sen with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure, sir.
And it's not only a pleasure talking to you, and I'm so impressed by the setting out here with the ethnic Madhur background and the Thailand Buddha and the entire setup. It always gives you a feeling of relaxing. Khub bhalo lagche. Thank you very much for having me.
It is always a pleasure to talk to you. আমরা অনেকবার ফোনে কথা বলেছি অল্প সময় করে, but whenever I connected, somehow you emanate a very positive energy even on the phone, and that's really something which is really addicting sometimes.
And you have a very great voice. After Amitabh Bachchan, I think you rank quite well.
Thank you so much, sir. That's the only thing I think I have, and this is the only thing I can do, talk. But before we go ahead into hardcore about our topic, I would love to know about your journey being an IAS officer and thinking about studying IAS, because you've already studied physics. You have been into a lot of masters as well, from residency to all the others, bachelor's and master's degree. But what made you get into civil service?
I'll get into that, but first two words that you mentioned in the intro has triggered two thoughts in me. Number one is about sleeping well. These days what people are saying, and in fact I am also doing a bit of thinking, is that I've seen my mother, she is no more. She expired at the age of 94. That's a very fine age. I have nothing much to say. But the last 2 or 3 years, she was affected by dementia. And it was she, to answer your question partially, who motivated me to be an IAS officer. We will come to that story, but she lost her memory completely in the last final days. And she even didn't recognize me. She said, "Are tomake chinbo na? Are ma amake chinte parche na? Tomake chinbo na? Are tu to Ashok." Ashok is her brother, and whom she also loved very much. So tears used to come to my eyes. Your beloved mother can't recognize you. If you have not gone through that, you will not understand. So whatever. So I thought that people do so many things for keeping fit physically, morning walks, etc. Should we do something for keeping our brains well too? And one of the things that people are now saying is that what you mentioned, they give 4 mantras after doing a bit of research and YouTube research, nothing voluminous National Library type research, YouTube researches and reading books and Netflix documentaries. I have crystallized a 4-pronged formula. Number one, to start with that, sleep well. You have to sleep well. 8 hours, no disturbance, same time, etc. Formula 2 is exercise well. No lazing in bed. You have to take care of your body. You have to make movements. You know, Apple Watches these days, if you're not moving every hour, it gives you a kind of a thing. It's very necessary to do very good exercises. The third point is eat less. I'm not talking of growing infants, but I assume no growing infant is watching your show. So if you are not, eat less. We don't need all this stuff. I'm not going into balanced diet, blah, blah, blah. Just whatever you eat, cut it at least by 20%. So eat less. And the last one is work hard. You have to work hard, whether your supervisor is screaming at you or your deadlines are there or not there. Be true to yourself that you are doing your best. So if you allow these 4 traits in you to be properly followed, I think you will be a happy person. And that word that you said about happiness is triggering another thought is, I'm in Eco Park in Newtown. There was a glass house, it's called Utsari House. We are having a seminar. And this seminar is about urban development and many other things. And IIT Kharagpur expert professors are also there. And during the course of discussions, someone makes a statement that Raipur is a happy city. So I immediately put up my hand and say, I understand, a person can be a happy person, but how can a city be happy? I mean, city has no face or something. He said, sir, Bhutan is a nation and it also has gross national happiness. There are ways to measure happiness. And therefore, I said and I learned that IIT Kharagpur had a Center of Excellence and Happiness. And we commissioned them to say, I have been working in Newtown for such a long time. I have been working, giving half of my life to it. I think it's a good thing, but I want you to assess. 3 years roll by. And when Professor Patnaik comes out with the, mark sheet kind of a thing, he gives me only 6.4 out of 10.
Okay.
And I am completely lost. I said, these days, mothers, if their son or daughter gets less than 99.9%, they start weeping.
They go wide.
They go wide. And I get 6.4 out of 10. I said, kya ho raha hai? Where did I go wrong? And then 1 or 2 things were there, hospitals and transportations for a growing city, that we knew. But one thing he said, that our service is that you are not gender sensitive. Your city. And I was again, I don't know, if there is a road to be made, we don't think of men and women. So why do you say that we are not gender sensitive? And he explains. He says, when women, after the techie work, they work in shifts, often it is post 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., they walk in streets. Certain streets are still desolate in your city. It's a growing city, certain part. The police are there, everybody is there, but there is a sense of insecurity. They feel somebody may be stalking or something. So that feedback has come to us. And I said, so what should I do? Deploy more policemen or something? And that was a beautiful, which is where I'm coming to, solution that they came. No, you don't have to do that. You set up coffee bars on the roadside. So if you have a coffee kiosk, people will come, lights will be there, and the sense of isolation will be gone. And we started doing that, and really that was one of the keys to make Newtown a happy city.
That's fantastic, sir. But because whenever you set up these coffee stalls or coffee bars, I'm sure there will be a lot of people gathering to have a sip of coffee, and that will keep the city busy. And that also emanates a fantastic positive vibe every corner in the city, and that will make women safe.
And in the coffee shop, I can see tea talkers talking already.
Oh, thank you so much. That would be lovely. It would be a pleasure,
But that's one of the ways. In fact, I'm so happy that you are also having conversations in a tea shop or a coffee shop.
Yes.
And we had once a conversation or argument on about tea and coffee, which is better. We all supported tea, of course, Darjeeling tea and everything. But the verdict was lost to coffee. Young generations take barista coffee and cafe coffee.
Right.
Tea bars are slightly falling behind, I think.
But we can always restart that.
We should. And tea is nowadays, I feel so bad when I went to Pune and they said, what should I serve? I said, tea. And they said, do you want Darjeeling tea? I mean, they are only tea that otherwise they'll give some kind of masala tea, lychee tea, some flower tea, which are not tea. We don't treat them as tea. To us, it's only pristine Darjeeling tea. The only question you might ask, first flush or second flush. Yeah. That's different.
Right, that's the thing. So, sir, you have been into civil service for quite some time, and you have been watching various governments very closely, not just Bengal government, but also government of different states. And I'm sure every government has only one intention, is to keep the citizens safe and happy. That's one of the main intentions of any government. The first thing that came up in your mind while you were building up and strategizing and planning for a city, for a smart city rather, a green smart city, what was there in your first plan of action? Is it only the people's amenities that you want to give, or is it the development of the entire infrastructure? What was the primary role that...
It's a very complex question, and we could go on for a very long time. But to give the essence of it, it's very necessary to plan and design well. There's no question on that. I mean, if your basic design is faulty, nothing will work over there. Right. But I think the soft part of it, I mean, having built a convention center, having built a Rabindra Tirtho, having built a Nazrul Tirtho, so on and so forth, these very, very fine specimens of modern architecture and very great designs which have been applauded. But unless people use it, unless there are people all along and they are finding use of it, it's of no use. You see, when Newtown was there, I was associated with this for 14 years in two parts. Initial 2 years, I was the MD of HIDCO, which is making Newtown. I have seen it completely, marshy land, kuch nahi hai, tractor going there, lorry by lorry filling up. There was nothing, zero. And now it's a bustling township. This gives me a great thing, that everybody has been uprooted from some place and brought here. Are we making them happy? It's not a normal para, call it street para or pike para, where children grow together, grow old together. They have been knowing their families for, generations kind of a thing. But here what is happening, completely unknown people and sets of children, sets of adults are coming together. Now, is this working, this chemistry? This was a great challenge to me. And I find the greatest amount of satisfaction in building up community life. Durga Puja, of course, is one of them. So we started, disciplined Durga Puja. Bishorjan dite hobe, but anybody can't go. We called all the Durga Puja organizers and said, here is the Bishorjan Ghat, you will follow this route, have a procession, and I will be there on the ghat, and you will do Dhunuchi Nach. And we used to, clap, and they used to come up and shake hands, and, the sense of attachment. And so, again, the street food, the under flyover space, the pickle ball and the five-a-side football, sports, clubs. I am very fond of saying this, that after the Britishers left India, the only government or a proper club built was in Newtown, is the Newtown Business Club. People have to come together, they have to sing together, they have to eat together in order to make a city vibrant. I took a program that said, let's make Kolkata vibrant. My friends from Bangalore used to say, oh, Kolkata, ghumano shohor. After 7, everything is closed. And when I was in Chairman and MD HIDCO, a lady technical person said, sir, you are closing the playgrounds at 8 o'clock. We were, because, we had to release the security stuff at 8. So we come back by 7:38, then take a wash, have a bit of snacks, and by 9 o'clock, we are ready to move around. And all of your playgrounds are closed. We can't even make an evening walk. So we did a few interventions where up to 12 midnight, we would open our streets and make it vibrant. These small interventions led me to a lot of good vibes. And to continue with the question, should I continue with the answer? But that is a different direction about my coming into civil service and other things.
We'll come to that, sir. We'll continue with this right now. So you have built that infrastructure, you have ideated how you want to do it, and you have done that. But do you also think that while you were building up this infrastructure, while you were thinking of making your dream come true with the government, of course, was there a desynchronization between what actually people wanted and what you have actually built, in the sense making and changing the mindset of the people who have been brought up in a para culture, which you have just mentioned, and bringing them to a cosmopolitan culture where it's a mix and match of different genre, different communities, and different mindset of people. So, was there a challenge here?
So, in many Durga Pujas, they used to invite me for cutting the ribbon, purely for want of any VIP. Koi nahi hai to chairman ko bulao, sarpanch ko bulao, aisa type hai. So I go to a housing estate called Shachi Greenwood or something, and I ask them, should I say in English or Bangla? You have to speak something. They shobai shantite pujo ko korba and ittadi. So you have to say something. No? You just can't escape after cutting a ribbon. I would have loved to do that, but they will push the mic at you and call you to the stage, put you and uttur you and say you have to say. I said, "Thik ache, but should I say in Bangla or English?" I could say no immediate action. At least a 3.5 second pause. And then they say, half in Hindi, half in Bangla. Not Hindi. I refuse to talk in Hindi because people would laugh if I talk in Hindi. I see Hindi movies and everything, and that's not a problem, but I can't speak properly. So I usually ask English mein, yeah, Bangla mein. And they said make it 50-50. The point I'm making is, yes, it's a cosmopolitan crowd. It's not the Paikpara crowd only. It's also a lot of Gujarati crowd, a Marwari crowd, and a non-Bengali community, but who are all belonging to Bengal. Otherwise, why would they buy property and settle down in Bengal, in Kolkata? So that put up challenges. Yes, there are still challenges between traditional Bengali way of doing and a slightly different way of looking at things. So a very beautiful thing when we found, of course, we had all these melas and all these baul shongits and everything during puja time, but we also organized rangoli competitions and other things to take care of the other section of the community. So this we had to make a conscious effort to make both sides balance, and I think we were by and large okay. The community gelled well.
Yes, of course.
But intermingling is still not too common, I find.
It will take some more time.
It will take some more time.
Because there are a lot of time, people have different expectations, different objectives to be fulfilled. And if we see a city like Kolkata, which is a very old city, it's still evolving as a city, in terms of profession and career and everything. We are still evolving as a city. In fact, I'll tell you honestly, when I started in this city, leaving a job, getting into a business 13 years back, there were many people who provoked me to go out of the city and start. But I had looked in a very different way, because I have seen that if I'm starting in a virgin city like Kolkata, I don't have a competition, because people don't dare to start here. So I have a free field to score a goal out here. So I started. It took time. Yes, of course, if I compare with Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, it's a very fast city. But what I have found here is I find a very well synchronization between my personal life, what I love to do when I'm not working, and what I love to do when I'm working. There's a beautiful synchronization in this city. The city has got everything. And let's talk about you as well. You have traveled around the world. You have been so many places. You have brought in culture of different cities, different towns, nations, to Kolkata. I'm sure it is not for the Bengal government. You have done this because you had this passion to bring it here. You have been into civil service. So I want to know your journey becoming a civil servant, at the same time, how your science background, how your learnings around the world have helped you to bring in and develop this for Kolkata.
Well, first of all, I'm very happy that you are one of the few people who have decided to stay on, because all my friends and all my sons and daughters, everybody is outside Kolkata. It's very sad sometimes when somebody says, which I don't agree entirely, is that Kolkata is becoming a retirement city. It's not true. You are the proof. Tea Talkers is the proof. And I find a lot of young people in Salt Lake, Sector 5 and Newtown who are working, who are queuing, who are working very hard and doing splendidly. So let's have faith in that. I think that's very essential. I think what is there, and somebody was telling that when Singapore, which is one of the very powerful countries, and only a few decades back, not very British Raje, Kolkata chole gelo, Rajdhani chole gelo, Kolkata theke Delhi, not those times. Late 60s, 70s, Singapore was very poor, and the Prime Minister of, then the founding Prime Minister of Transforming Modern Singapore, Lee Hua Win or something, I think I may be making a mistake, he is said to have said that you look at Kolkata, we must be like Kolkata, imagine, and where they have gone now, where we are there. So I think we have to think very deeply, and I think people like you will make a change, and I am also involved with a lot of startups now. I'm seeing how people are, talent is getting very much honed, and I am very hopeful that very soon Kolkata will also emerge as a center of excellence in something. But to come back to your initial question, yes, I studied in Presidency College and I studied physics. When I was in class 9 or 10, on the bookshelf I wrote, I love physics. I was very fondly mad of it. But then after 11, I'm the last batch of 11, and I got into IIT. My father was an engineer. He wanted me to join there. I did join there also. And my mother, who is an overriding influence in my life, she's no more, she said, Baba, IAS hai. I said, why? You can't be an IAS, you know. It was not there. If she were there, I would have looked at 12th Fail movie and you'll see what being an IAS means. But she prodded me to take that challenge. And she used to say that when I was in the district, in the Berhampur in my days, and I used to find the district magistrate, always getting the front seat and all. So I one day thought I was always in the back seat, my mother is saying. So I wanted my son to get that front seat. So anyway, so I did not do IIT. I kept on studying in physics and also kept on studying for the IAS. However, my father retired in 83 and I thought, nobody told me, but I thought as the eldest son, I should take on a job. So I joined a bank, A, PNB as a management trainee, close to a year, then B, State Bank of India as a management trainee, close to a year, and C, into the IAS. So while I was in these two jobs doing, of course, they were also lenient. I mean, probationer, trainees, management trainee. It was not like your days, you know, they make the probationers work so hard, 17 hours, 18 hours a day. Some of them are having mental depressions. I know, you know, in a law firm, my son's friend, he had an actual organic depression because there was no sleep. 17 hours a day at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the evening, night or morning, if you say, they are still working in the office. And this kind of pressure to the young people was not there during my time. So it allowed me to study. So I studied while working, and it was a great thing. And when that result came out, and on the top of Kesi Das, you know, Kesi Das Rasgulla in Esplanade East, you know, that is the corner, take the building beside it is the Press Information Bureau. I'm talking about 84. I'm 85 batch. internet to প্রশ্নই নেই, not even mobile, not even anything. So you go to press information bureau, see a sheaf of numbers, these are the roll numbers, and I found my roll number there. And I thought to myself, this changes everything. My first posting, you see what we have to do. In fact, we just now, last month I think, yes, April. Last month we went to Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration in Mussoorie, where we become officers from students. And now we had a reunion of 40 years of completion, and from people from all over India, all my batchmates, everybody who has been in the service, they are now more relaxed and enjoying their second innings. And then we all came together with our families, and it was a splendid reunion. And we all liked the place where we had first come to join. You know, there was a white wooden building, a very small room where you came sheepishly and said, you know, I have been appointed, what should I do? As I sit down and do your joining report, and there is the locker. And you went into the regime, hostel, Ganga hostel, horse ride, PT, yoga, study, debate, evening SPH. They keep you busy. And it was a transformation. And you know what? Since in the IAS, people are given different cadres, we call it. There are different states. And there is a 1/3, 2/3 rule. So even if you are a Bengali and there is a posting there, you may not be given. My batchmate has been in Kerala and so on and so forth. So how do you manage? Did Shubroto know Malayalam? No. So there is a language training also. But why I am making this up is, at that point of time, there was no Bengali teacher. The Bengali teacher, the then Bengali teacher, Bhanuji Rao, had just retired. So the director somehow appointed me as the teacher. And so I taught my batchmates coming from other states how to speak and write Bangla. Even now my batchmates pull my leg, tui taka peyechili 1000 taka amade khawasni. You know, they give a small amount of money.
About to join the forces, about to join the service, learning Bangla. I mean, that is such a proud moment for someone. And this is something, a memory which I think you are carrying throughout your life, and you should be proud of this.
My batchmates, of course, pull my leg. जे आपने भूल सिखाया इसलिए हमको नहीं आता है. No, that's a pure joke. Yes, it was a good thing to, but teaching batchmates is not easy. You know, they don't listen to you. And so it was very difficult to say if there is a good cricket match, they'll go and they'll not learn. But basically, everybody knew they had to learn the language because they had to work.
So stress had been a permanent issue for humans for ages. I'm sure there had been a stress in your time, before you, before them. It's a continuous process because it's a part of our way of living. So, do you think that the managing part of that stress has evolved over time? The way you have managed your stress. I'll just give an example. You are very fond of physics, you mentioned. You loved the subject. And your mother says, get into civil service. কিছু সময়ের জন্য তো স্ট্রেস হয়েছিল যে আমি কি পারবো সিভিল সার্ভিস I've not thought of it any time. But again, due to the belief towards your mother, because you knew that মা যখন বলছে I think I'm able to do it, let's give a try, and you stepped into it. But there was stress. Studying civil service, studying the Indian Constitution, studying all your subjects during those days, there was stress. The way you managed the stress during your entire service tenure, the way you are managing stress right now, retiring from the service, but still managing work-life balance and doing your own stuff at the same time. Do you think the way you are handling stress at your age and the way I am handling, or maybe junior to me who are handling stress, there's a different methodology of handling stress? And when we are also getting in AI, where most of the time we think that AI will take away our stress, but sometimes it isn't. It may create an adverse effect as well. So, আপনার কি কখনো মনে হয়েছে যে stress একটা permanent part of our life, but the way we are managing stress is different? But are there any tools, sir,
Absolutely. I mean, stress is a part of life. It's part of the way we think. And but this is my later realization after being seen a great part of life. But yes, there were stresses, not in the terms that you explained. For example, I'll tell you, the IAS exam that I took, I gave home center as Kolkata, of course, but I was posted in a place called Modinagar in Uttar Pradesh, and I had to come to give the exam, and there were floods, all trains were cancelled, and I didn't know how to go to Kolkata. We barely reached Delhi, all trains cancelled. I didn't have money for the aircraft, and I borrowed money from my aunt, who Mama. Fortunately, he was in Delhi. And I didn't even know there was a thing called J class. आजकल के जेटाके executive class बोले तो उनका दिने J class बोलता. There was only one Air India, Indian Airlines of those times. So টাকা ধার ফার করে বলছে only one seat is there, that is a J class, and we took it. কলকাতায় যখন নামলাম, no bus, no nothing, knee deep water, কোনো রকমে হেঁটে টেটে ট্যাক্সি নিয়ে সকাল 8টায় বাড়ি পৌঁছলাম, 10টা থেকে পরীক্ষা আরম্ভ. Do you think that was not stressful?
Absolutely stressful.
But probably we didn't fret too much. Probably there was a belief in trying to do the best of it, in trying to explore opportunities, but not to take it very personally. At best, পরীক্ষা দিতে পারবো না, কি আর হয়েছে, পরের বার আবার ট্রাই করবো, এরকম kind of a thing.
আমাদের জেনারেশনে even when I meet participants who are younger to me in training sessions, most of them are running behind targets. They have been given a target which they have to achieve and they can't meet their target. কিছু সময় মানুষ এটা ধরে নিচ্ছে that target is the end of life. যে টার্গেট মিট না করলে my living is britha. I'm not living my life at all. এই যে মাইন্ডসেটটা বা এই যে মননটা, এই যে অনুশীলনটা, is there a turmoil situation created, self-created, or is it the ecosystem? আপনার কি মনে হয় এখানে?
এইটা তো একটা মডার্ন ওয়ার্ল্ডের ওয়ার্ক প্রেশার ইজ রিয়েলি ক্রাশিং. আমি যেহেতু আই হ্যাভ সিন ফ্রম ক্লোজ কোয়ার্টার্স, ইটস ক্রাশিং. I think the trick is that you have to, this will remain. If you don't do 17 hours of work, somebody else will. So you have an option to go. But how do you cope? As I have been thinking and doing, meditation helps. Nobody does meditation in younger days. I have never seen anybody do that. But yoga is getting popular. In Newtown, in Eco Park, I find people are running, people are cycling, young people I'm meaning, not seniors. Seniors are also moving out, but young people are doing that, and they're carrying their yoga mats and other things. So meditation, yoga, exercise, being physical helps. And number two, I don't know, it's very easy to say, it's not easy, especially at a younger age, to accept. I would say to detach yourself and think that all your stress is in your head. Nobody is, kind of beating you with a bamboo stick or something. So you have to work, but don't take that to be a cause of stress. It's easier said than done. But as I said, I am doing research, and I think there are many gadgets also available. There are lots of AI tools, lots of mindfulness exercises. I think mindfulness, that's slightly different from meditation, I think. Be present at the moment. Very one simple thing. But I don't know if you've seen that movie, hilarious movie. It's a comedy kind of a thing. But it's worth seeing. In the Netflix you can see. It's called Murder in a Mindfulness, or Mindfulness Murder, something like that. Absolutely fantastic. A person goes and tries to kill somebody and says, I have to be stress-free. What did my guru say? And he does something funny, still kills him. It's a comic, but it shows, I think, how in every aspect of life, even when you're about to be hanged or to be shot, there is a mindfulness solution for that moment. be present at the system, take a deep breath or whatever. Even Westerners are doing it a very great lot, even in Far East, Korea and Japan. They are doing meditation and mindfulness exercises. And now I think there's scientific evidence at last. It does bring changes to the brain and it does help you.
So when you say mindfulness, again there is a disconnect between a lot of people between mindfulness and meditation, which you have just mentioned. That is not the same thing. Meditation is a completely different process. And it's a recurring process. It's a chronic process that you need to get into on a regular frequency. But mindfulness is just completely focusing at my current moment and enjoying that moment, finding out the good things that I'm going through at this point of time and relishing that. But again, that is a choice of a person, sir. আমি এই সিচুয়েশনটাকে এনজয় করবো কিনা বা এই সিচুয়েশনটাকে আমি পুরোপুরি উপলব্ধি করছি কিনা, এটা তো আমার চয়েস। কিন্তু এই চয়েসটাও তো অন্য কারোর বা অন্য কোনো সিচুয়েশনে দ্বারা অনুপ্রাণিত। Something else is.
So, in my opinion, there is a training needed. Just for lifting dumbbells, you need to exercise regularly. এই যে আমাকে একজন কেউ পেটাচ্ছে, for instance, why should somebody beat me is another question. But suppose somebody hurts me. Even then, can I be happy? I'm not saying that you need to be happy, but you need to analyze that it's the pain, physical pain in this case, is just a sensation in my nerve. Nothing is happening to me. I am the same person thinking the same thing. Okay, if he's beating at my logs or I have met with an accident, I'm getting some kind of a sensation. So you need to train your mind. I think very strongly that there should be trainings to, kind of train your mind that this is what mindfulness is, even if it is not only a happy moment. Getting a sip of tea and enjoying life is fine, but, getting a target or something which is much more difficult and stressful in real life. But I do my job and I don't allow it may be painful, I'm not getting a sleep, but I will not allow it to touch me as a person. I will not allow it to touch my soul, my brain, my inner core. I think that requires a bit of training and practice.
So কিছুটা আপনি যেটা বলছেন, this is also inclined towards a practicing of a bit of spirituality and spiritual practices. Though spirituality is still a mystic thing, people can't define it completely. But what you've mentioned is a part of preaching spirituality as well. How you train your mind to accept what is needed to be accepted and detach what needs to be detached. And that's again a choice, of course. But why I'm doing that, say for example, in a civil service training, I'm sure how to manage stress is one of the important part which is important to the aspirants. That has also evolved. আপনার সময় যে মডিউল ইউজ করা হতো ট্রেনিং এ, এখন যে মডিউল ইউজ করা হচ্ছে, it's totally different because the way the IPS, IS officers are operating is completely different these days from the day you have joined. Kintu, we are all humans. Every service that you are doing, we are all humans. প্রত্যেক মানুষের একটা ধরন আছে, there is a feature, there are parameters and attributes, একটা behavioral pattern আছে। স্যার, আপনার কোথাও মনে হয়েছে এই ফিল্ডে কাজ করতে গিয়ে, বা the reason you have brought up স্নেহদিয়া, শুধু কি একটা সমাজের একটা স্তরের মানুষকে আমি ভালোভাবে বাঁচতে দেব শেষ বয়সটা, সেটা ভেবে, নাকি তারা একটা নিজস্বতা উপলব্ধি করবে সেখানে থেকে? They will find themselves somewhere.
Absolutely. It has to be peace. I mean, happiness কথাটা একটু westernized, and there is something slightly richness, arrogance, something. Happiness, peace is what we look at. And loneliness is another thing that is afflicting them and which is causing depression and which is leading to stress. To come back to your question, I was 3 years the additional chief secretary in the Department of Information Technology in the state. And that time I came in contact with many techies. I can't write a line of code. These days it's not necessary also. ChatGPT can write it for me. But In any case, I can't. But I got to know their world. And what I came to know is that there is now, for example, I'm a great follower of applications of AI. I can't write the Python code, nor am I expected to, and not necessary also. But I follow a lot of tools that AI is bringing in, and one of my point is that the thing that you started with in Kolkata, you see, Kolkata, we got a very back seat when we didn't allow computers to come in the late 70s. It has put us back. And no, there's no question that we got a setback. Our youth got a setback. You can't, it was an absolutely wrong step. So I think since we are already at a behind where Bangalore, Hyderabad, Noida, Pune, Gurgaon has gone ahead of us. So what about the new things that were not there? We are not behind. So for example, AI. ChatGPT was released only in November 22. And January 23, it came to us. And look at me, June 24, soon after my retirement, I am doing an AI art exhibition in the Academy of Fine Arts, the Pithostan of Shilpo. আমি তো ভেবেছিলাম normal শিল্পরা tomato ছুঁড়বে যে you are taking my job. Nothing doing. People came in and see what is this new thing happening. Established painters came and started to look at it and whether they can integrate. The point I'm trying to make is AI has also unleashed a lot of tools for stress control, prevention, and other things. I was looking at one of these headbands. It's so costly that nothing is there in India. I saw their map there, it's in their website, and the nearest that you can get in, you have to fly to Dubai to try it out. It's expensive. So I am trying to convince an NRI to invest some money. And at least let Calcutta be the first place in India to offer such technological solutions. For example, there is a much less costly, there is a meditation pod. You know, it's kind of engulfs you. It's a kind of egg-looking shell, the picture that I saw. You go inside, you put a certain knobs, and the whole thing turns blue or whatever music, and it puts you into meditative mode. So whether the bands and the headgears which measure your brain waves, EEGs of some kind, and they do it with AI so that they have a worldwide pattern of if this is happening, what is there. To cut a long story short, I think AI companions and AI tools are also going to help in meditation, in mindfulness, and certainly in controlling stress. And can I add one last thing? Last December, I was traveling in the plane, maybe I was going somewhere, and I got this Time magazine, and it had said 100 achievers of 2024. The new year 2025 was just coming in. And in the 25th page, I find the name of a podcaster. Mind you, you are also a podcaster. Mel Robbins,
Yes.
54-year-old.
Yes.
She is one of the 100 top achievers in the whole world. And I am sure the way you are nodding your head, you know, but for your viewers, she is a multimillionaire now. 56-year-old, so she is not a tiny tot kind of a thing. And the pod that gave her this fame it was a 1-hour pod, but the main thing was only in 2 minutes. It said, if you are stressed, count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full stop. And she makes the listener repeat it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the logic is that your stress and emotion is on the one half of the brain, and this is the logical half of the brain. And when you deploy that, you immediately calm down. Point I'm making is podcasts, AI, machines, and other things are now there to help you.
But sir, we also need to learn how we will be utilizing those as well. Because I'm sure there are gadgets which have come up, which are extremely helpful, extremely important. But at the same time, we are also need to find out how a tool will help us. And that learning ability, or I'll say the learning agility of a person needs to be so high that he always needs to be on an acceptance mode. Right, sir? We are almost on the verge of closing in, but sir, before we close in today, I have two questions for you. The first is Sri Debashis Sen as a person, serving people for so many years, for the well-being of people with infrastructure, amenities, you constantly thought for people. এটা কি আপনি করতেন যদি সিভিল সার্ভিসে না আসতেন? My first question. Second question is, you are not directly associated with the service, but you are seasoned with the service right now after serving for so many years. With artificial intelligence, with other technology, and human expectations, are you still trying to bind this? We were discussing about mental gym that you just said. So, is it one of that thought that you have started resonating here? So, I want to end with this because I want to explore you here actually.
It's absolutely right, and I'm amazed at your quick conclusion. For the first point, I would definitely say that the civil service gives you a very big canvas to work upon. Very few jobs provide that. But of course, you are always in an ecosystem. You can't do anything alone. Like a general who needs the whole army, in here there is the government, there are the other lower level subordinate staff, the entire government machinery. And in my case, certainly, my government and my Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has been very supportive, and I've been allowed a long stint to work, and this has given me the opportunity to make Newtown happy, green, platinum rated green, and smart city. So definitely it's the whole ecosystem, and it's not one single person, but the opportunity that one gets in the civil services is certainly a huge opportunity that one can make use of. About the second question, I do believe, again, I am constantly, starting with my mother's dementia, I am constantly thinking that staying long is no solution. Staying healthy and staying contented, if not happy, is the main thing. And while a lot of genetics and genetics engineering and molecular biology is doing things that's hard to imagine. By the way, it's now available in India, and I'm taking a magic drug called Ozempic, which is a wonder drug. It's just come to India. So huge amount of medical advances are going on for the body. And if you see the Netflix film Don't Die, it is arguing that just keep yourself alive and medicines are coming. I'm oversimplifying. Fantastic movie where you can see. So what I'm saying is that technology is certainly going to come. And I will end by saying about the isolation, about the companionship, about the relationship. One of the favorite movies, if you have seen 213 movie, Her, where a man divorces his wife and he falls in love with an AI companion called Samantha. He is totally in love with her. He gives the mental companion and everything. At the end, something else happens. She leaves, that you are too uninteresting, so I'm going to somebody else. But these days, these AI companions are there on your App Store, on your Google Play Store. It's coming, and it's only a matter of time that they will be physically sitting with you, and if you are an elderly person in Snehodaya, or a young depressed person doing 17 hours and thinking of suicide, you have the AI companion. We must use of these technologies. It is mind-boggling where technology is going. It's mind-boggling where molecular biology is going. This is going to change, and the technique that I want everybody to do is to learn these tools before it's too late. I read economists very diligently. I pay a princely amount of 10,000 টাকা দিয়ে digital copy কিনি, বুঝেছেন, for the year, which is fantastic. We don't spend beyond 150 rupees for buying a magazine, no? So 10,000 টাকা. So it's a good magazine, that's all I'm saying, published from London. সেখানে আমি প্রথম পড়লাম যে ওজেম্পিক ড্রাগ বেরিয়েছে স্পেশালি ফর ব্লাড সুগার কন্ট্রোল, বাট তাতে তো কত ড্রাগই আছে ব্লাড সুগার কন্ট্রোলের জন্য, বাট ইটস সাইড ইউজ ইজ অ্যান্টি ওবেসিটি, অ্যান্ড লক্ষ লক্ষ আমেরিকানরা এটা কিনছে, বাট ইট ওয়াজ নট অ্যাভেলেবল ইন ইন্ডিয়া টিল লাস্ট মান্থ। এখন ওরা আরেকটা কি কম্বিনেশন নিয়ে উইচ ইজ ইভেন মোর পোটেন্ট এসছে। আমার ডক্টর বলল যে ইটস ভেরি কস্টলি, গুড মেডিসিন, গুড হেলথ ইজ অল ফর রিচ পিপল, সো ইফ ইউ ক্যান অ্যাফোর্ড দিস ইউ ক্যান ট্রাই দিস। বলছে যে এটা খেলে কী করে অ্যান্টি ওবেসিটি হয়, এবং ডায়াবেটিস থাকতেই হবে তা নয়। I do have, my father had, I have inherited it, I have to take medicines for controlling that. বলছে যে এটা অন্যভাবেও খাওয়া যায়, এবং লটস অফ আমেরিকানস আর ডুইং। প্রেসক্রিপশন দেবে না ডক্টর ফর অ্যান্টি ওবেসিটি সামথিং, বলছে ইট ইন্টারাক্টস উইথ ইয়োর বডি টু রিডিউস ইয়োর আর্জ টু ইট। উনি বলছেন, আমার ডক্টর নিজে বলছেন, নাম করছি না, হিল বি এম্বারাসড। বলছে পেশেন্ট এসে আমাকে বলছে, জানেন তো আর বিরিয়ানি খেতে ভালো লাগে না, বাঙালির বিরিয়ানি খেতে ভালো লাগে না, শুনেছেন কোথাও? কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইট ট্রান্সফর্মস, মানে এত এক্সারসাইজ এত কিছু চেয়ে এটা ইটস কস্টলি ড্রাগ, বাট ইটস কাম নিউ ড্রাগ, উইল ট্রাই ইট। বলছে কিন্তু আমাদের কাছে 4 বছরের বেশি ডেটা নেই, এক্সপিরিয়েন্স নেই। আই ডোন্ট নো 10 বছর পরে কোনো অ্যাডভার্স হবে কি না, বাট ওয়েল এভরিবডি ইজ ট্রাইং, ইউ ট্রাই। তো এইরকম নতুন নতুন অবিশ্বাস্য সব মলিকুলার রিলমে হচ্ছে। অবশ্য আমাকে ChatGPT বললো যে দিস পার্টিকুলার ড্রাগ ওয়াজ নট ডিসকভার্ড থ্রু AI, বাট আই নো প্রোটিন ফোল্ডিং, যেটা ক্যান্সার ডিটেকশনের খুব কাজে লাগে, এইটা কিন্তু AI এর থ্রু দিয়েই একমাত্র ডিসাইফার করা গেছে। সো হিউজ অ্যাডভান্সেস আর বিং মেড, অ্যান্ড যেটাতে আমি বললাম ডোন্ট ডাই, যেটা বলছে এখন, বলছে সমস্ত জেনেটিক ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং দিয়ে ইউ কান্ট গো ইয়াঙ্গার, বলছে দ্যাট ইজ নট পসিবল, ইউ কান্ট রিভার, বাট ইউ ক্যান স্লো ডাউন ইউর এজিং। পৃথিবীটা যখন সূর্যের চতুর্দিকে একবার ঘুরলো তো 1 বছর বাড়লো, কিন্তু আপনার বায়োলজিক্যাল এজ হয়তো 0.6 বাড়লো। সো দিস ইজ হোয়াট দ্য ওয়ার্ল্ড ইজ হেডিং টু, এক্সট্রিমলি কস্টলি, এক্সট্রিমলি রেয়ার।
আমি এটা জানতে চাইছি যে তাহলে কি সামওয়্যার যখন এই ধরনের ড্রাগ ইনভেনশন হচ্ছে বা এই ধরনের বায়োলজিক্যাল রিসার্চ হচ্ছে মানুষের শরীর নিয়ে, আমাদের ছোটবেলা we have heard about time machine, আমাদের ছোটবেলা we have seen fictions and movies যেখানে I can do time travel, I can go in the past, I can go in the future, getting inside a machine and I can do that. তার বহু বছর আগে ব্ল্যাক হোল ইনভেন্টেড হয়েছে, সেটা থ্রু দি টাইম মেশিনকে নিয়ে আমরা অনেক কিছু ফিকশন দেখেছি। কোথাও কি when we talk about reversing age, when you talk about slowing down age, কোথাও কি এই কনসেপ্টটাকে কোথাও কি কানেক্ট করা হয়েছে?
ওয়েল এভরিবডি ওয়ান্টস টু বি ইয়াং, আর যদি আপনি বিলিয়নিয়ার হন, কোটি কোটি টাকা আছে, কিছুই আর পাওয়ার নেই, ডাক্তার খেতে দেয় না, হাঁটুর জন্য বেড়াতে পারি না, তো টেল মি ওয়ান পারসন ইন দ্য হোল ওয়ার্ল্ড who doesn't want to get young, unless he is himself 3 years old or something. এটা তো সে মহাভারতেও সে আছে না, সে বাবার ইয়েটা নিয়ে নিল, সে জরায়ু, পূর্ব জরায়ু না কী ছিল, হোয়াট এভার। সো এই স্বপ্ন মানুষের সবসময় আছে, ওয়াই ডু উই গেট ওল্ড, অ্যান্ড দ্যাট ইজ ওয়ার সায়েন্স ইজ হিটিং। কেন সত্যি বলুন তো? ডু ইউ নো দ্যাট আমাদের ব্লাড সিস্টেম এভরি 21 days কমপ্লিটলি নতুন হয়ে যায়? তো তাহলে ওই পুরনো ব্লাডই আসছে কেন? আমাদের যে ক্রোমোজোমের সাইডে ইটস ভেরি কমপ্লিকেটেড, ওইগুলো এখনও ওরা সলভ করতে পারেনি। সাম চেঞ্জেস আর হ্যাপেনিং দ্যাট ইজ মেকিং ইউ এজ। তো সেটাকে কী করে স্লো বা নালিফাই, একদিন না একদিন, এবং একদিন না একদিন নয়, বাই 2030 লোকে বলে, মানে আর 5-6 বছরের মধ্যেই এসব চলে আসবে বলছে লোকে। সো একদম আপনি যেটা বলছেন যে এজ রিভার্স করা হয়তো পারবে না, কিন্তু চির যৌবন বা চির ইয়ে রাখাটা খুব একটা অলিখ নয়। আমি যার লেখা খুব পড়ি সেটা হচ্ছে হারারির লেখা, নোয়া হারারি, ইসরায়েলি প্রফেসর, হোমো ডিউস অ্যান্ড হোমোস্যাপিয়েন্স ইত্যাদি সব লিখেছেন। তো উনি এক জায়গায় বলছেন, when you walk on the streets of New York, you are not sure if the person next to you is not 500 years old. মানে আমি তো বলতে পারি যে আপনি 500 বছর বয়স হয়তো আপনার, ইউ ডোন্ট নো, আপনি ইয়েটিয়ে খেয়ে আপনি আপনাকে চির ইয়াং লিখেছেন, বাট ওনলি বিলিয়নিয়ার্স ক্যান অ্যাফোর্ড ইট রাইট নাও, নট এক্স্যাক্টলি হচ্ছে আর কি। সো হোয়াট আই এম ট্রাইং টু সে যে যতদিন না এসব হচ্ছে এবং যতদিন না মেডিসিন চিপার হচ্ছে, ততদিন অবধি অন্তত ট্রেনিং করে মাইন্ড জিমে গিয়ে, ফিজিক্যাল জিমে গিয়ে মাইন্ডফুলনেস শিখে, মেডিটেশন শিখে, এআই এর সাহায্য নিয়ে, এবং আমার 4টে ফর্মুলা গোড়াতে আমি শুরু করেছি। আমি আজকাল চান্স পেলেই একবার করে বলি, ইট লেস, স্লিপ মোর, এক্সারসাইজ ওয়েল, ওয়ার্ক হার্ড। এই ফর্মুলা নিয়ে আমরা ততদিন অবধি যদি কাটিয়ে দিতে পারি, আমাদের কিন্তু অনেকটাই স্ট্রেস, স্ট্রেন এবং ডেবিলিটিস কমে যাবে।
ফ্যান্টাস্টিক স্যার, হোয়াট অ্যান ইনসাইট। কিন্তু স্যার এখানে সময়ের কিছু অব্লিগেশন আছে বলে আমাদের শেষ করতে হচ্ছে, কারণ আমার পডকাস্টের একটা ডিউরেশন রয়েছে, আমাকে শেষ করতে হচ্ছে। বাট আপনাকে এক্সপ্লোর করা শেষ হচ্ছে না, মানে and that's a fantastic thing that I want to cherish. I want to listen to you more. সেটা পডকাস্টে হোক, অফলাইন হোক, কোথাও হোক, চায়ের আড্ডায় হোক, I want to listen to you more. কারণ আমার এইটা আমি অবজার্ভ করেছি, যেটা আপনাকে আমি অফলাইন একটু আগে বলছিলাম, যে there are very few young people today যারা সত্যি কন্টেন্ট রয়েছে এবং কন্টেন্ট নিয়ে তারা কথা বলতে পারছে। there are a lot of startups who are doing very good coding, they are coming up with fantastic innovations, কিন্তু কোথাও গিয়ে তারা এই যে স্ট্রেস, এই যে একটা ওয়ার্ক লাইফ ব্যালেন্স, এই যে একটা সুন্দর মিউচুয়াল রেসপেক্ট ইন দেয়ার পার্সোনাল রিলেশনশিপস, এটা কোথাও কম্প্রোমাইজড হচ্ছে। এটা রিসার্চ করলে কিন্তু এই ডেটাটা বেরোবে। আমাদের কাছে যারা আসেন ডিটকার সেশনে, ম্যাক্সিমামই ইয়াং ছেলেমেয়েরা আসছেন, just stepped out from college, moved into a corporate, done a master's, moved into a corporate. And the moment they head into the corporate, they get that gust of the wind of pressure. এটা একটা কিন্তু ভীষণ একটা খুব গোড়ায় বলদ হয়ে আছে এখন, which we need to very subtly we need to cater that gradually. আপনার মাইন্ড জিমের যে কনসেপ্টটা, that will definitely work out. In fact, আজকের পডকাস্টের আগে অবধিও there are a lot of people who are thinking that AI is a threat, which is absolutely not. If utilized and understood properly, AI can be the best companion because it is bringing you data from across the world on your screen. So, এই যে choices of life, এটা মনে হয় we need to choose very carefully, like how I utilize a technology, how I utilize a particular gadget. And at the same time, আমি যার সাথে কথা বলছি বা যারা আমাদের সাথে রয়েছে, are we creating that balance of gratitude to them at the same time? এই দুটো সিনক্রোনাইজেশন হলে মনে হয় the future is more secured.
আমরা একটা ট্রিগার করছি, আপনাকে ইন্টারাপ্ট করছি, আপনি প্রশ্ন না জিজ্ঞেস করলেও। এই সেক্টর 5-এই আরেকটা কোনো ঘরে আমি কিছু স্টার্ট আপদের সঙ্গে মিট করছিলাম। ইট ওয়াজ এ স্টার্ট আপ নেটওয়ার্ক। এখানে একটি গ্রুপ, সে আইআইটি থেকে পাস করা, কোয়াইট ইয়াঙ্গিশ লুকিং, কোঁকড়া চুল, জিন্স অ্যান্ড অল, সেটা ফ্যান্টাস্টিক রিসার্চ করছে, রিসার্চ না স্টার্ট আপ করছে। সে কী করছে, যে আপনি বললেন না, AI is very good at recognizing patterns. We all know that. একটা মানুষকে, একটা গ্রোয়িং স্টুডেন্টকে, আপনার ক্লায়েন্টকে সে প্রশ্ন করছে, এবং এআইয়ে তার বাবার সব কিছু থেকে, তার মার সব কিছু থেকে, তার ছোটোবেলার সব কিছু থেকে সব কিছু একটা কোডের মধ্যে ঢোকাচ্ছে। এবং সে কী খেতে ভালোবাসে, কী খেতে ভালোবাসে না, কি এভরিথিং দ্যাট ইউ ক্যান নো অ্যাবাউট দিস পারসন ও ডিজিটালি তার মধ্যে ঢোকাচ্ছে, এবং তারপর এআই মেশিনে এই টাইপের লোকদের প্যাটার্ন কী হয়ে থাকে, দ্য লিটল দ্যাট আই কুড আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড দ্যাট হি ইজ গিভিং এ লগ আউট that these are the things that you need to do. I think that's also another application of AI that may soon get traction. Now, if we have the tools to make the right choices, this is the point I was trying to make. আমরা সিম্পল ডিলেমা, প্রেসিডেন্সিতে ভর্তি হয়েছি ফিজিক্স অনার্স নিয়ে, নো কোয়েশ্চেন, কিন্তু পাস কোর্স তখন আমাদের ছিল, আজকাল তো অন্যরকম বলে সেমেস্টার এসব বলে, তখন আমাদের পাস কোর্স ছিল। উই হ্যাড টু অপশন, প্রত্যেককে বলা হলো না অনার্স তো আছে, পাস কোর্সে ইউ হ্যাভ টু টেক স্ট্যাটিস্টিক্স আর কেমিস্ট্রি। এবার কী নেবো, কিছু বাবা মাকে জিজ্ঞেস করে এসব কোনো লাভ নেই। সো আই ওয়াকড টু দ্য হেড অফ দ্য ডিপার্টমেন্ট, সে শুনে বললো তাহলে কেমিস্ট্রি নাও, কারণ ফিজিক্যাল কেমিস্ট্রি এরকম। আমরা এরকম অ্যাড হক দাদাকে জিজ্ঞেস করি, সিনিয়রকে জিজ্ঞেস করি, আচ্ছা কী করা যায়, আচ্ছা তুই কী করেছিস। উই আর নট গেটিং কারেক্ট অ্যাডভাইস, সেটা আরেকটা প্রবলেম। সেখানেও কিন্তু এআই আপনাকে ভীষণ ভালো অ্যাডভাইস দিতে পারে। ChatGPT ইজ দ্য সিম্পলেস্ট ফর্ম, ওয়ান অফ দ্য বেস্ট ফর্ম। জিজ্ঞেস করুন অকপটে, আপনি বিশ্বাস করবেন না, স্নেহদিয়া থেকে উমা দাশগুপ্ত, ফর্মার ডাইরেক্টর অফ ব্রিটিশ কাউন্সিল ইউএস এডুকেশন, তিনি আমার কাছে 84 বছর বয়সে গত সপ্তাহে এসে বললেন, আচ্ছা এআই ব্যাপারটা আপনি একটু শেখান। আমি বললাম প্লিজ হ্যাভ ডিনার উইথ মি। অ্যান্ড শি স্টার্টেড টাইপিং ইনটু ChatGPT and I said, just write anything, there's no right and wrong. And she has done that. তিনি ওনার নিজের নাম লিখে বলছে যে আমার সম্বন্ধে তো সবই জানে দেখছি ChatGPT। আমি বললাম আপনি লিখুন উমা দাশগুপ্ত প্রোফাইল, জাস্ট 3টে ওয়ার্ড। ওনার এন্টায়ার লাইফ হিস্ট্রি ফ্রি ChatGPT মডেলে চলে এলো, নট টু টক অফ 4.0 or something like that, paid version. She was impressed like hell and she is hooked onto it. যদি কম্প্যানিয়নশিপ চাই, যদি রাইট অ্যাডভাইস চাই, যেটা আমাদের ট্রিগার ছিল, আপনি বললেন যে সঠিকভাবে যেন ছেলেমেয়েরা বা কেরিয়ার চয়েস ইত্যাদি ভেবে চিনতে নিতে হবে। আর জিজ্ঞেস করবো কাকে, অমর রায়চৌধুরীকে জিজ্ঞেস করবো না বাবাকে জিজ্ঞেস করবো কেমিস্ট্রি অনার্স স্টাডিজে, কিছুই জানেন না, উনি ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং পড়েছেন, উনি হিস্ট্রি পড়েছেন। তো এখন ChatGPTকে জিজ্ঞেস করবো এনিথিং, দ্যাট দ্যার ইজ নো রাইট অ্যান্ড রং আনসার। স্পিক আউট, অরণ্যে রোদন করবেন না। Use the AI tool that is free and in front of you and adapt that. সেটা ব্লাইন্ডলি কেউ নিতে বলছে না, দেখুন তো, অ্যান্ড ইউ মাস্ট। যদি না করে থাকেন, এবং আমি যে এআই আর্টটা করি আজকাল, এআই আর্ট এক্সিবিশন, ওয়ার্ল্ড এনভায়রনমেন্ট ডেতেও আমি এটা করছি, আমার ফার্স্ট ট্রিগার ছিল লোকে বুঝছে না কি দ্রুত, স্পেশালি পিপল অ্যাবভ 25 আমি বলতাম যে এআই ওয়ার্ল্ডে কী ছিল। যারা বিলো 25 তারা সব জানে, তারা জানে না। সো আই হ্যাড টু প্রিন্ট ইট আউট অ্যান্ড পুট ইট অন এ ওয়াল। এই আপনার সুন্দর সুন্দর ছবি, আমি নিজে এক লাইন আঁকতে পারি না, কিন্তু এখানে বড় বড় এক্সিবিশন করছি। এবারে এটা কি তুমি এঁকেছো? না আঁকিনি। তাহলে কে এঁকেছে? কম্পিউটার এঁকেছে। আচ্ছা কম্পিউটার এঁকেছে, আচ্ছা কী করে করলো? না আমি ওকে কিছু টেক্সট প্রম্পট দিই। তাহলে তো তুমি আঁকোনি। আচ্ছা যিনি আঁকছেন তিনিও তো কলম এবং তুলি নিচ্ছেন, আমি না হয় সফটওয়্যার এবং কিপ্যাড নিচ্ছি। নট ভেরি স্যাটিসফাইড যে খুব কষ্ট করে একটা জিনিস না করলে তুমি কিছু করোনি আছে। সো পয়েন্ট ইজ, it's absolutely mind-boggling how AI is coming. The coming wave বলে মুস্তাকা সুলেমানের একটা বই 2023, 2 বছরের পর, মানে এজেস এখন প্রায় খবরের কাগজে ঠোঙা হয়ে গেছে, বাট এজ এ স্টার্টিং পয়েন্ট ইটস নট এ ব্যাড ওয়ে টু সি হাউ রোবোটিক্স, বায়ো ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং, আর্টিফিশিয়াল ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং অ্যান্ড আরেকটা কি উনি বলেছেন, 4 things are going to transform life as you see it. পড়বেন যদি সুযোগ হয়, especially your listeners. If you are more advanced, it's okay, but it's very well written, and Mustafa Suleiman is now the head of the AI division of Google. So he was earlier with Google DeepMind and took a great part in Kasparovকে হারানো না AlphaGoতে যে হেরে গেল, it was a very sad time for human being. The best player in the world was beaten by a system of AI.
I think that was so insightful and so enriching for all of us, sir. Not only for me, for my entire team behind the camera. And আপনাকে তো এভাবে কোনোদিন শুনিনি, যখনই কথা হয়েছে অল্প বিস্তর কথা হয়েছে, আপনিও ব্যস্ত থাকেন খুব, and it's such a privilege to find you in the Tea Talkers podcast. I'm sure this episode will be very special for the listeners and the viewers. এবং this can evolve their thoughts, this can transform their thoughts from what they used to think about spirituality, artificial intelligence, human behavior, and all three together. So you have actually created a picturesque view about how these three can be well synchronized and mingled together. So I think it is a pleasure to have you here and to listen to you. And I'm sure there are a lot of things which are still to be explored. You have been an university for a lot of people, the way you have shown us how a city can evolve, how a city can become smarter, greener. And I'm sure whenever I pass through this particular part of the city, it's an extended Kolkata. We were brought up in North Kolkata. It's very disconnecting initially. I was brought up in Paikpada. Yeah. Okay, so just beside Kalapara is my childhood. Shekhan theke when I travel to New Town these days. So, amra jara North Kolkata boro hoyechi, there's a nostalgia about our old para friends, which I've just mentioned. And coming to this city, প্রথমে মনে হয় একটা ডিসকানেক্ট, কেউ কারোর সাথে কথা বলে না, সন্ধ্যে হলেই দরজা বন্ধ হয়ে যায়। আমরা তো দেখিনি, আমরা সন্ধ্যা হয়ে গেলে দরজা খুলতে দেখেছি, সবাই রকে এসে বসছে চা নিয়ে, তখন ঝড় উঠছে পলিটিক্সের রকে, সেটা দেখছি না। কিন্তু এটাও তো খারাপ নয়। This is how people are gathering together. This is how multiple cultures are being brought in. People are learning from each other about their culture. And আপনি দুর্গা পুজোর কথা বলেন, not just দুর্গা পুজো. I was surprised to listen to the radio of New Town. One of my brothers has been hosting there on that radio. ও আমাকে বললো, দাদা তুমি একবার শুনো। And I was amazed the way you have thought of this concept. How a culture can be imbibed and it's bubbling out there inside that particular genre and that particular community. So the community radio is another thing that you have actually brought in. এবং কমিউনিটি রেডিওর বেস্ট পার্ট যেটা আমি পার্সোনালি ফিল করেছি, সেটা হচ্ছে এত সুন্দর কিছু অনুষ্ঠান হয় যেটা আমাদের বিভিন্ন রেডিও চ্যানেল যেগুলো আছে, বেতার সংস্থা যারা রেডিও চালাচ্ছেন অন এয়ার, এখন তো এই জনরাটাও পাল্টেছে। আকাশবাণী কলকাতা ক যেভাবে চলেছে ছোটবেলায়, তার থেকে FM has changed a lot. But again, community radio is more personalized. Yes. It's more connecting. It's more like somebody's talking from my neighborhood.
It's about involving people.
Exactly. এবং সেখানে তাদের কথাই হচ্ছে, তাদের লোকদেরকে দিয়ে তারা শুনছে, which is much connecting. তো এই কনসেপ্টগুলো যখন আপনি ভাবছেন, it's a gift for us. And I would like to thank you for this gifts. আমি নিবেদিতা একবার আপনার সাথে দেখা করতে গেছিলাম. You will definitely not remember. You were sitting in this office when you have mentioned about bringing up a place in New Town where you will try to grow tea.
We did.
And you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have presented Eco for Tea also.
Yes, I remember that. So there are many few people who actually সবাই শিখেছে বাইরে গিয়ে, সবাই দেখেছে, কিন্তু কজন এক্সিকিউট করেছে স্যার?
Cycle track I am also very proud of. 39 kilometers. Paris is 50 kilometers. আমরা এখানে 39 kilometers
nowhere. And such well planned. And trust me, people who drive across New Town, they are bound to follow the rules. That's something which is a success for us. যে শ্যামবাজারে গাড়ি চালাচ্ছে, বা রাজাবাজারে গাড়ি চালাচ্ছে, বা পাকসার কাছে গাড়ি চালিয়ে সে যখন নিউ টাউনে আসছে, his driving pattern changes because you have marked them where to drive, how to drive, how much speed to maintain. So এই transformation গুলো, I think it is not just about making people say that you have to do this, you have to do that, but make them do that. That's, I think, a huge success for us. Thank you so much for all these gifts that you have given us, sir. And I'm sure that this is not the end. There are more coming from you because you.
I think thank you again for having me আর এখানে সুযোগটা দেওয়ার জন্য, আপনার ভিউয়ারদের সঙ্গে কিছুটা কথা বলার জন্য। অ্যান্ড আই মাস্ট সে আপনার চ্যানেল নিশ্চয়ই খুব ভালো হবে, কারণ এত সুন্দরভাবে আপনিও কথা বলেন। আমি তো আগেই বললাম, অমিতাভ বচ্চন যখন গলা আছে তখন একদিন মেল রবিনসন তবে চোখের সামনে দেখতে পাচ্ছি। থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ অ্যান্ড মেনি congratulations for trying this avenue of helping people.
Thank you so much. So it is always a pleasure, and this is the only success and this is the only achievement that we have experienced in this journey, is finding people like you with us, nothing else. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.